Good day, everybody. This is Etienne Marceltut, and welcome to another edition of Fighting Peaches. We'll be playing the audio from our exclusive interview with new Marshall football head coach Tony Gibson from the 2025 Football Media Days, the Sunbelt held in New Orleans earlier this summer. It was great to catch up with him, and as he prepares for his first season, manning the Thundering Herd. As always, to follow everything that we do, head to the mothership, to sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also head to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure you like and share to our audio and video hosts, which include YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. We've been previewing the Sunbelt football season throughout the past few days and weeks, depending on when you listen and watch this. And we focused on Marshall and spoke with the Coach Gibson, as I said, the team, as he's preparing to lead the team in his first year at the helm. Here he is. Enjoy. We are joined by new head coach of Marshall, Tony Gibson. Coach, we'll get to the specifics of everything that's gone on over the past few months, but how's the team overall? It's been a major turnover of the roster, and we'll get into the details. But just at this stage, fall camp's about to open up. How are you doing?
Doing great. Really like our staff. Really like our players. They bought into Marshall. They've bought into what this place means to so many people, and so I'm really excited to get with them in fall camp and get this thing going.
Yeah, and I heard a little bit of the podium talk and just doing my research. You're new to the program, but it seems like you try to bring a lot of people familiar with the I call it the Virginias, really, just kind of that area. How important was that? Because you're bringing in a lot of players, but at least you want to have your staff that seems to be familiar kind of with the area. How important was that for you?
Yeah, very important. That was priority one for us as a staff, or for me to hire a staff, was to make sure that guys wanted to be there, number one, and make sure that they were familiar with the area, with our recruiting base, understand what Marshall means to so many in our state.
Yeah, absolutely. And but what was the appeal of the position? Because it's a challenge. I mean, you
Yeah.
knew the turnover would be strong, and it was. You knew you had to bring in a new staff. But what was it about Marshall that appealed to you to take on this challenge?
Well, number one, I had a great situation at NC State. Uh, Obviously, this wasn't a decision I made about money because I did take a pay cut to come be the head coach. But, coming back to my home state, coaching in a place like Marshall, that it was kind of a no-brainer for me. And, I just wanted to be at a place that cares and that supports our team and our players. And Marshall fit that whole criteria, and that's why I chose to take the job.
What is it about the state of West Virginia, specifically Huntington, that I'm an outsider? I've lived in the Southeast. I'm originally from the New York area, but what is it about when you hear people talk about West Virginia, specifically Marshall and Huntington? What is that like for someone that is an outsider? Just the vibe and the energy of what the football program
Yeah.
just means to that area.
Well, in our state, you have West Virginia University and you have Marshall. And, obviously there's other schools, but they're Division II schools. And we have no pro teams. And our people love football. The state of West Virginia is a tough, gritty, coal mining state, blue collar, hardworking people, and that's what they want to see out on that field. And they're proud of those two universities. And for us to represent the 1.8 million people in our state, and we don't play West Virginia, so there's really, there's no in-state rivalry. They root for us, just like probably some of our fans may root for WVU. I don't know, but it's it's a state that with tough people, and they want to see football played at a certain level, and the physical piece of it and all that. So that's kind of the DNA of our state.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've seen so many guys come back on a professional level or even collegiate level. He's like, I'm going back to West Virginia. It's a cradle of coaches as well for so many guys. But let's get back to on the field. Offensively, Rod Smith's your new OC.
Yep.
What about implementing his offense into your overall scheme, and how beneficial is it to have a guy like Jalen Slappy, who we just spoke with, who stayed with the program and made that commitment, where I'm sure he could have made the exodus to many other places. But just talk about Rod Smith, the offensive, coordinator, and having Jalen stick around to you.
Yeah, so Rod and I, we have a unique relationship. Rod and I played college football together. We were roommates. He was in my wedding. And that's not the reason I hired Rod. I hired Rod because I felt he was the best person for the position. And his scheme is what I wanted. I want to be a run-first team. I want to be physical on offense. I want a mobile quarterback because I understand as a defensive-minded head coach, put stress on the defense when you have a quarterback that can run and do those things. So, we hired a great staff. Our offensive line coach was Rod's O-line coach at Illinois when they led the Big Ten in rushing. So very familiar with those guys and what they do and how they're going to do it. So it fit into what I wanted. And then a guy like Jalen coming back was huge for our program. He's an all-conference caliber player. He's a great leader. And he's selfless. And a lot of kids right now in this era of college football are selfish, and he's totally opposite of that. He cares about the program, the school, the town, and all those things. So it was really good to have a guy with his presence and the talent that he has to come back and be a leader in our program.
Yeah, and then defensively, Shannon Morrison's your new DC. What about implementing his defense and just trying to get that side of the ball, together?
Yeah, and again, my background's on defense. We're going to run the scheme I've been running. I'm going to be heavily involved defensively, but Shannon has some new ideas and some things that I feel that can make us better. And Shannon played there. He's got blood in the bricks. He played on the national championship team there. He's from the state. I think this is fourth time back at Marshall. So
that's what I'm saying. They find their way back.
No doubt.
They find their way back to Virginia, to West Virginia.
Yep.
Either the Mountaineers or March. I see it so much. But yeah, and that's why I'm sure that's great to have him there. All right, a few more minutes here with Tony Gibson, new head coach of Marshall, and with some fun questions here. Favorite stadium that you've been able to coach in, besides obviously your new home in Marshall?
Yeah, I tell you, Clemson was fun. That place gets loud. It's electric. Oregon has probably been the loudest stadium I've ever coached in. When I was at Arizona, we played them on a Thursday night, and they were number one in the country, and it was it was a pretty cool atmosphere. So those both are really good. Virginia Tech's really good. So I've been fortunate. I've been in every league except the SEC, and at the Power 4, Power 5 level, and so Big Ten, ACC, Big East, the Pac-12, the Big 12.
Yeah, you've seen some stadiums.
Yeah, so we've seen a bunch.
And speaking of seeing a lot, favorite recruit that you were able to sign, and it could be a personal, it could be someone that you spent years on, or someone that was lower regarded, and then turned out to be a really solid player.
Probably
one or two.
Probably Denard Robinson was a really good one. I signed him at Michigan.
You did, okay.
And
I remember that. Yeah.
Denard was special, and just built a relationship. Over the year recruiting him and all those things. So he was a fun one, and we went into Florida and beat Florida to get him. So it was that was a good win for the program.
That's massive. Best high school, maybe Denard, best high school recruit that you've been able to witness in person.
Pac-Man Jones was pretty dang good.
So you saw him in Georgia?
Yeah. I did. Westlake. He played for me.
We're based in Atlanta. We're based in Greater Atlanta, so we know about Pac-Man.
Yeah. So Pac-Man was he was not only special on the football field but on the basketball court. He was fun to watch.
He was a multi-sport guy for sure.
Yeah.
One thing you'd like to see kind of improved in college football landscape, or maybe overall, or maybe just one aspect that it's like we could do a little bit better in this.
Yeah, I think that obviously with the NIL world right now, I think it's completely out of control, and teams like us in the Sun Belt, it's not comparing apples to apples anymore. I mean, there's such a big separation from the Power 4 schools to us. Just hopefully they get some guardrails on this thing, and I think the settlement did some things, but there's still other ways around it where they're getting a lot more money and doing those things. I want to make sure that college football doesn't lose what it was intended for, and so those are the things that I would like to see get better.
All right, and then last question: what's been the best coaching advice that you've received, and or maybe some best advice that you've given to a player just on your, or maybe something you saw or told and then pass it along to a
Yeah,
player?
there's a couple. You know, it's all about your players and the Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and O's. Don't It doesn't matter what you know as a coach. It's a matter of how you teach your kids and what they know. And then the second piece of that is to coach them hard and love them harder. And when you do that and you get them in the right frame of mind and they trust you as a coach, you can coach them any way you want to.
All right, once again, wrapping up with Tony Gibson, new head coach of Marshall. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it, and good luck this season.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you during the season.
All right, absolutely. And that was Tony Gibson. We appreciate him giving us time at the football media days for the Sun Belt earlier this summer. And to hear more of Marshall football, as well as the rest of the Sun Belt Conference, make sure you go to our sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also head to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and videos, which include YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. Once again, this is Etienne Marcel Patuta, Sports Inquirer. And until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.